World News TV. We are live. Welcome 2019. Reggie Kearney, Cherry Ann Tappan. What's up, y'all?
Hey, Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. So,
Look at that
Reggie,
look
I
on
am
Tony's
going to
face.
I'm going to, because I'm loving the beard.
She said, Happy New Year.
Yeah. Grr. I'm going to go ahead and let you guys do your thing.
Let's get this show started. The night show is entitled "A New Year, New Congress, and a New Mess." It seemed like we just left this show a couple weeks ago, but we actually left in November 2018. But it seemed like a lot has gone on since then. We got a new Congress, a very new Congress. With the Democrats, they gained the majority in the Congress. The Senate remains the same, but we're faced with a shutdown at this time. The president of you guys decided that he would take the blame for it, that he would shut the government down. He's been threatening this ever since he's been in office. So finally, we're dealing with a government shutdown right now, and that's affecting everyone, especially in this area. Um, the area I'm in, the DMV, is home to a lot of federal employees. And this is the week. The trickle down effect is going to go really in effect this week, because one of the things you have is you have contractors. If I'm a contractor and I'm contracting out, if I have contracts to clean government buildings, I'm not getting paid. My people are not going to get paid. My people are not going to get back pay. So I think the president fails to realize that this trickle down effect is going to hurt people for a long time to come. So this is where we are now. A new year, a new mess, a new Congress, same old Senate. So guys, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to disagree with you on one thing. I don't think he doesn't know. I think he doesn't care. Either he doesn't care or it's on purpose. As he said, this is affecting everyone, in particular the middle to lower income sector. You've got, 800,000 federal employees that aren't getting paid. You've got public housing that's being affected, Medicaid that's being affected, veteran services being affected, all social programs across the board being affected. There are going to be more people negatively impacted by this, economically speaking, than we've seen. This might be the thing that starts the depression. You're going to have people losing their homes, can't pay their mortgages, people losing their apartments. You don't have an apartment, you lose your job. And it's not like the property managers, renters, and Con Ed and all of these people are going to say, "Oh, we understand. The president is not paying you, and we'll, offer you a 6 month window to get it handled. Hopefully, the government will start again by then, and you'll get your lump sum payment," which isn't likely to happen. So this
Well,
is going to increase the size of people who even need social programs that won't even be there anymore to assist them once this government shutdown is over. And the second thing I wanted to say is I also find it suspect that the shutdown is on the heels of our having a new Congress. It's on the heels of our having the most representative and most demographically diverse Congress we've had in the history of our country. And so it makes me think that that's another reason why this was purposefully done, because it ties their hands and disables them from getting anything accomplished this early in the game.
well, two things. The last time we had a lengthened shutdown, the banks, the mortgage companies, and everything did work with everyone. Uh,
Under what president?
Under was it Clinton or Obama? Obama, I think, had a 17-day one, and banks and everything did work along with the people. One of the problems and you didn't have is with the government employees, they will get their payback. Okay, they will get all that back paid back. Like I said earlier, contractors who work for contractors, those are the ones that are really going to hurt, because they're not going to get their back paid back. Now, the banks, the realtors, and things of that nature, the apartments, they did work with them on the short term, because they stand and lose too. If you start putting people out of apartments, you start taking back cars and houses and stuff, you got to get rid of that stuff in one way or the other. So, there's a double.
Gentrification.
It's a double edged.
Easy.
No, it's a double edged sword there. Okay, and one thing you got to realize, it doesn't really, it doesn't make a difference that the Democrats have the Congress back. You need the Senate in order to approve the bill. Okay, they need to come to some common ground because what happens is, okay, they approved the bill last week in Congress. Okay, McConnell said he's not going to let it come to the floor. McConnell should let the bill come to the floor, be defeated, or whatever, and go back and they sit down and negotiate and try to come to a common ground on it, which they did the guy in the White House stayed listened to Limbaugh and Kohler. He decided, well, I'm against all of this. Okay, that's how the whole thing got stopped because both the House and the Senate had already agreed upon what they were going to do, and Trump had agreed to it too. But then he got upset after he got called chicken and said, this is going to be his legacy. He decided to back out of it, and that's what he's done. But Mitch McConnell is the one holding it up because he won't allow it to come to the floor. I mean, everything is in place. He's got to allow it to come to the floor. But this is the thing going in recession or anything like that. What's going to happen when the fat cats on Wall Street start losing more money through the stock market, they're going to put the pressure on him to back off and allow people to go back to work because the economy is going to suffer. I was looking at ABC News this morning. There's this town in Utah where the town is business is driven by the federal government. They went to this lady's restaurant. She depends on breakfast from the federal government and lunch from the federal government to stay in business. She's not getting nada. So he can play his game for a while. And remember, we got about 20 states in 2020 where you got Republican senators up for office. And these states have quite a few federal employees. Okay. So the push is going to come. Fourth, Congress will get the veto power to do whatever they want to do. If a bill is passed through the Senate and the Senate and the Congress can't agree and 45 refuses to sign the bill. So there's some built-in mechanisms because there are about 5 or 6 congressmen say they will vote with the Republicans in Congress to veto anything that Trump signs that comes from the Senate. So it's a double-edged sword, but I don't think we're going to drown. I don't think we're going to go back into the Great Depression. The market's already right now anyway. So
I'll believe it when these Republicans talk about voting against Trump when they've had 2 years to do so. I'll believe it when I see it. There's so much hot air coming out of there. They can have their own Thanksgiving Day parade. I mean, it's what they do is they lie and wait. They wait to see if their lies are going to be proven as lies or if nobody's going to make the time to do the research and due diligence to prove it's a lie, or if the amount of evidence they come up with is vague enough that they can either refer to it as fake news or just say, you know what, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, much like he did with talking about his business relations with Russia. He denied. And as, good percentage of that dossier comes out to be true, and 13, 14 people around him in his inner circle have all had dealings with Russia, his plan B response is, it doesn't matter at the end of the day because X, Y, and Z. So if he gets caught in a lie, it doesn't matter, or it's fake news. Or some major travesty happens that distracts us all from what we need to be focusing on.
Well, he doesn't give a crap, but it's going to take, sooner or later, like I said, Congress is going to have to be in. Democrat and Republican. Right now, I really don't know what you are. I really don't care for neither one of them right now because they're playing with the lives of people, okay? There are people that have to live from paycheck to paycheck or day to day that work with the federal government, okay? And so their lives are being affected, okay? You just taking this area, you have the federal government employees out of work, which trickles down to the contractors being out of work, which trickles down with the number of restaurants and food trucks that surround these areas during the day. Those guys are out of work. Here in my county, Indian Head base, even though it's DOD and they're still working, DOD has about 5,000 employees here in the county I live in outside of DC. Okay. If DOD didn't have funding, just think about 5,000 employees in this county not going to work every day and the effect it's going to have. You know,
He
eventually,
doesn't care.
well, I don't care what he cares. Eventually, Wall Street is going to talk and going to speak. Okay, these fat cats don't want to lose too much more money. Okay,
Do you
so
really think that even with the voice of Wall Street that this is actually going to turn around? I mean, come on now. He
yeah,
does not give a shit about anything. Like I said in the promo, it reminds me of a baby in a playpen. Okay. And he's shaking his rattle. He is shaking the sides of the walls of that playpen. And it's like, let me have my graham cracker.
Mm-hmm.
His graham cracker is his wall. Okay. And you don't give him his graham cracker and he's going to shake that rattle even more. He does not give a shit. His focus is on that wall barrier, planks, steel planks. You can call it what you want to. Because at this point, he doesn't even realize what it is. He doesn't know what he wants.
I guarantee you,
He doesn't
though.
know what it is.
I guarantee you, though, that he's found a way to make money off of that wall, whether he's in bed with the concrete company or the steel company. Some buddy of his is going to make money off of that wall, just like a buddy of his proposed taking care of the electricity problem in Puerto Rico, and they said, to hell with you. That's why he's fighting so hard about this. That, and also to keep a hold of that small group of racist supremacist Americans that are, rigidly, rabidly, psychotically focused on anti-people of color. You want to talk about immigration, we need walls on the side of Canada as well, because they're coming in through there as well, but that's not a concern or a priority. I had somebody talking to me today about we need the wall to keep drugs out. And I was like, the CIA has brought more drugs into this country than any number of mules coming across the border. The number of mules you would need to bring in the amount of drugs we have in this country would be astronomical. You would have so many cases of people with drug poisoning in all of the hospitals along the border that it would be painfully obvious. It's just people
Well,
believe what they
you
want to
know what,
believe.
and I'm glad that you brought up the fact that the immigration issue, as far as how many people are coming in, the drugs that are coming in, that kind of thing, right? I'm so glad that you brought that up, because even this morning, as I was getting ready for my day, I listen to MSNBC and CNN all the time. That's all my TVs are on, right? So I overheard one of the commentators stating that it's at a point where he really does not know what he's fighting for. He doesn't know what he's holding up people's lives for.
He's holding it up for
You
his
know,
pocket. That's what he's holding it up for.
I don't think he's holding up for his pocket. I agree with
I don't either, Reggie.
Tony. He wants what he wants, but this is the thing: we as Americans got a choice. Okay, we either fight him and we get the Congress and Senate to work this thing out, or we wait until next November for the general election and he gets voted out. Okay, now if this thing goes on maybe 6-7 months, the economy is going to start collapsing. Okay, and it's going to take a long time to bring it back. Those guys, let me tell you, now I can't say what I want to say because the Secret Service will be at my door. But believe me, they're not going to let Trump run this country down.
You've said plenty before, Reggie.
Look, but
You're on
Yeah,
the
but they
list,
weren't
already on the
threats.
list.
they're not going to let. Believe me, Trump would not. Or put it this way, Trump would get replaced in office before they let this country go under. Okay, this is the only. I do. I really do. This is the only country in the world where the government is held, the people who work for the government are held hostage for negotiations, okay? Basic kidnapping, okay?
Right.
Which is a felony.
You're right.
Well, that's
He
why.
should be arrested.
That's why
He
elected
should be arrested for
officials,
that, okay?
and that's
This
why
is the
elected
only,
officials should not get
yeah,
paid when the government stops. That'll speed up
yeah.
a decision.
So my feeling is it's going to be, but look, this is the thing. It's going to be over with soon. because come Saturday, this will be the longest shutdown ever. So he can
In
say that he
history.
beat Obama. He can say he beat Obama as far as the longest. And I think that's what he wants to do. He wants to make sure he gets the longest shutdown in the world. Okay.
I think it goes deeper than it goes much deeper than that. It goes much deeper than his irritation with President Barack Obama. It goes much deeper than that. It to me, and this is my opinion, to me, like I said, someone has told him that he can get something that is out of his reach if he throws a fit. Someone is telling him, such as Rush Limbaugh, that he needs to hold out. Now he's listening to these assholes or this asshole on the radio, and he's making everything that he does what someone else thinks of him. It's not about. It's not about lining his bottle, beating his ass. His self-education. This is what it's about. And for this to go on as long as it has, and I'm not just talking about the shutdown. We've known this from the moment he stood up there and put his sorry ass hand on that Bible and took an oath. We have seen this. So it's not that it shouldn't be a surprise or it is a surprise. The point is that we have a government that sees it like we see it and they refuse to act on it. Point blank, period.
Why do you think that is? That they refuse to act on it?
Okay.
It's not like they're lacking the power to act on it.
No, it's not that they're lacking power. What I do think is I believe that it has to do with their own feel good. But the unfortunate part is that they're going to have to come up again for re-election for their seats. They're going to come up again. And at the very last minute, when I think that every last one of them realizes that this is going to have to come to pass because of their political career, that is when they're going to start jumping ship to basically save their own asses when they have put us all at risk.
But that's what they're doing now. Like I said, you got 20 senators, Republican senators, up for re-election next year in states that are heavy employers of the federal government. They're pushing back now. I think what's going to happen if McConnell doesn't watch out, they're going to vote him out of his position.
They will vote him out. They will vote him out.
It's going to be a coup.
They will vote him out.
That's why I said I think this thing's going to be shorter than longer because McConnell eventually going to have to put up or shut up. And these guys
do not want to. But McConnell is a different kind of duck. He is a different kind of duck. He has the same makeup that Trump has.
Yeah.
Listen to him. Look at him. He's not, look, he'll hold out as long as he possibly can. And at this point in his career, his old ass knows that he's like 1 foot on the banana peel, the other one in the grave. He does not give a shit because he's not going to be there that long. He knows this.
He might not be there in a couple more weeks because this guy's going to put him out of his seat. They can do that.
Well, let's just, I was thinking about this before the show. And again, when you look at everything, not just the wall, not just his anti, people of color propaganda and agenda, but, allowing the fracking, allowing the hunting of endangered species, allowing dumping coal and waste into our waters and into the Gulf of Mexico, allowing things that have an immediate and negative impact on our environment, allowing things that further impoverish people that are in the lower medium income, bracket,
right.
Taking benefits away from veterans, reducing Medicaid for a population, all the baby boomers that are, in their late 50s, 60s now that are looking for Social Security. Like everything is doing is dismantling this country from the inside out. I can't speak to one thing this man has done which is beneficial to the country as a whole. And
Because
that
he
speaks to
doesn't
me.
care
Well,
about
no,
this country. He cares about Russia.
well, no,
I
I
mean,
think
we see the
he knows
writing
what he's
on the
doing.
wall.
The evil elf on a shelf,
We see
Steve
it.
Miller, who's advising him, knows what they're doing. There is an agenda here to dismantle this country. Trump may be an idiot. I don't think we're going to disagree about that. He is a bumbling idiot with less than a fifth grade education. He couldn't spell a word to save his life. The man is an idiot, as are his children. That's not a doubt. But the people that are pulling his strings have an agenda. And when you look at all of the things that are going on, you know, with medication, insurance, benefits, housing, like just this whole domino of services that are meant to help and strengthen the American population, educational systems, everything that's being
Right.
dismantled. It is wounding
So
this
let me ask
country.
you. So let me ask you both this question, because when we talk about the possibility of what his agenda might be, do you think the agenda? Because right now we are at the crux of what I'm understanding and hearing is that Mueller is coming to a close on his investigation. Do you think that the holdout for the wall and shutting down the government is a way of putting these people's minds on something else so that they don't have to worry about or think about the investigation that is going to be coming to a close soon? Because you're looking at now some shit starting to hit the fan, right? So do you think that is a way of getting people's minds off the fact that this Mueller investigation is going to be coming to a close soon?
I hope it's coming to a close soon. It seems to have been going on forever. But this whole presidency is about distraction. His whole presidency and his use of the media has been to distract people from any investigation into what he's doing, to distract people from putting all of these pieces of the puzzle together to see a bigger picture. We're so busy fighting, originally, we were busy fighting each other for services. Now we're just fighting to survive because he's getting rid of all the services. So we're too busy struggling to survive and make ends meet. Even worse now that you've got 800,000 federal employees not getting paid. They can't afford to pay attention to the Mueller investigation now.
Yeah. 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 What do you think, Reg?
Well, I beg to differ, because a lot of Americans weren't paying attention to the Mueller investigation from the beginning. Okay, the Mueller investigation is going on. I think what Mueller is doing, he's taking pieces of the investigation, he's putting it into the state of New York and other states, the state of Virginia. He's putting it where Trump can't never touch it, and he will. If Trump doesn't go to Russia to live after he comes out of office, he will get convicted. And he will face time in jail. And I think Mueller has set it up in a point where if he never gets another dime, if he never has another hearing or another investigative part of this thing, Trump is toast. Okay, I mean he's got it laid out. Okay, so I don't think it's a distraction because a lot of people weren't paying attention to it anyway. You just got a few news junkies that really pay attention to that stuff. Okay. I really don't even think a lot of people are paying attention to what's going on with the federal government because you only have 800,000 people out of work. Think about the number of people who are working, okay? A lot of people are working and it doesn't affect them. So why are they going to worry about what federal workers are going through, okay? My household depends on a federal check. I'm worried about it. I'm not losing sleep over it because I know this whole situation is going to come to a head after a while. Some things are going to jump off. And like I said, McConnell, if he doesn't get his act together, he will be voted out of his position, I feel. And you can't let this economy collapse. We will not. If this economy collapses and goes into a recession, we're going to be way behind because with the tariff issue right now, okay? Because he had to go against China. You got Russia now. It's going to sell soybeans and meat products to China. You got other countries selling product to Venezuela and Brazil and countries like that, stuff that we exported to, okay? Even without this government shutdown, he could run the country into a recession just because of tariffs, okay?
Right.
And this is happening, okay? I mean, our government is helter skelter right now. Okay, it's running from all directions. Okay, and this country is suffering because Russia and China are taking the opportunity to get into these countries where we have benefited from for our farmers to make new deals. Okay, and
Yeah.
that's blindness.
Yeah.
Okay, we got 665 days left. You know, we're gonna have to
Jesus.
deal with it. You know, but like I
Yesterday
said,
was 666.
yeah.
You know what I
So,
don't understand though is all the
mhm.
people, all his former business partners, his friggin' lawyer, all the people he has screwed over, why they are not singing like canaries,
Hey,
why they aren't on every
It's
news channel. I don't understand it. Even
they got.
now, Cohen is singing a little bit, but not as loudly and informatively as he could or
We don't
should.
know. We
yeah.
don't know.
Mm.
Mueller
We
hasn't
don't
let
know
it.
that.
We don't know that because one thing that happened today, Manafort's people let it out the bag that Manafort was giving poster information to the Russians.
But that's not news.
But yes, it is because it
There's
shows
something
collusion.
all behind that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it does show collusion.
it shows collusion.
But we knew that before, didn't
Yeah.
we?
Now, Trump's hands might not be in it, but his campaign was in it to win it. Okay, and if Manafort gave information to try to skew the outcome, that's collusion. Now, can you reach back and grab Trump with it? Personally, I doubt it
Hmm.
because the people in front of him. Okay, that's why I'm saying Mueller has a lot of stuff given to the state. He's given a lot of stuff to the state of New York, the state of Virginia, probably even Maryland. Okay, you're gonna see more state cases coming out of this, and you're gonna see federal cases coming out of this because Mueller's end game is to convict the Trump family. And you
Yeah.
can't pardon state. You can't pardon state. Well, probably a Democrat in office then, but you can't pardon state crimes.
You know, Tony,
Yeah.
you're gonna laugh at this comparison, but on some level, all of this reminds me of R. Kelly, right? Trump is
Oh
the
Jesus.
Trump is the
Oh
R.
Jesus.
Trump is the R. Kelly of our government, right?
Yeah,
Everybody
that's the
knows
show for tomorrow night.
right.
That's
Everybody
that's
knows
tomorrow
he's
night show.
You're
guilty.
right.
Everybody
Mhm,
knows he's guilty. Everybody
mhm,
knows what he's doing, what he's been doing, what he's done. They've got Russia's got tapes. You know, Storm's got pictures. Everybody
mhm,
knows what he's doing, and his ass still isn't in jail.
mhm. But look, at this time and point, I'd rather have him in office than have Pence in office.
Mm.
Okay, because Pence is just as I was looking at an interview he did. He looked like Satan sitting in that chair. Now he can't wait to get
They
a
all
hold
are
of the reins,
Satan.
do what he wants to do.
He knows it's coming too. He know,
Yeah,
and Pence, he understands what's going on, and he
yeah,
knows that that is going to happen.
yeah.
It's just when.
Just
Yeah,
get
He's
more
just
women
sitting tight.
elected. Just
yeah.
get more
But this
women
is the
elected
problem,
in office, and Pence won't be able to do anything.
right? But
You
this is the
know.
problem. If they go, if if they go after Trump now, they go after Pence also. Whatever happens to Trump happens to Pence. If Trump and Pence both get put out of office, the next president of the United States is Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
All right. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want that. They don't want that. But they better not be. It's not.
Yeah.
We just don't know what Mueller has, and that's the whole thing. Nobody
But
knows
see,
what
that's
Mueller
the
has.
whole thing is that, see,
Yeah,
they don't want that train to pull into the station.
it's
And
already in the
that's why I
state.
keep thinking, well, not,
It,
no,
they ain't
it's
open the
pulling,
doors.
okay?
They ain't open the
They
doors.
haven't opened the doors yet.
Mhm.
That's what's going on. The train
Yeah.
is in the station, right? But the moment that we know that both Trump and Pence are out of there, let me back up. They don't want Nancy Pelosi in there because they didn't even want her back as Speaker of the House.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
They didn't want that. So can you imagine both Trump and Pence being led out of there with their hands behind their back, okay? Taking their asses to jail, and Pelosi sitting there with a gavel,
Keep
ready to
talking.
just fucking,
Keep
you
talking.
see what I'm saying?
Keep
They
talking.
don't want that.
No.
So somewhere down this very thin road, they're going to have to get this shit together
You know,
because
Pence
that is
though.
what's going to happen.
Pence
You
has
can't
been
tell
so
me Pence
quiet.
doesn't know anything. But see, you know what? That's just like someone who is guilty and they say, well, shit, the less I say, the better off I am.
He's
You
just
know?
this
Pence
quiet
knows
shadow in the
everything.
background.
He's a smart man. I
You
would be quiet
trust and
too.
believe.
Mm-mm.
Well,
I'll be
shit, he
quiet
was
too.
quiet during Pelosi and
Mhm.
Schumer's meeting with the president, right? So what makes you think that he's going to get on more of a public forum
Yeah.
and open up his mouth about anything? He's not going to do that.
Quayle did more talking than Pence does.
Yeah. But see, look, but
Yes.
this is what you got to look at. Okay, the train is in the station. Okay, the reason being too is why would the Supreme Court back a Russian company, if I'm not mistaken, last week and tell Mueller that for right now they can't really go after the company because there's a lot of stuff to it because they didn't want to bring the whole picture out. Okay, even Robert said he didn't know the whole picture of what Mueller was doing was going to do to this company, and he kind of pushed them off for a minute. They know the train is coming up. They know it's a lot of stuff out there. Let's look. One other thing we need to look at too. There was an American arrested in Russia last week for spying. Okay, he was only there to witness the marriage of his friend to a Russian lady. Okay, now you know the young lady who's in custody here in the D.C. area has decided to turn state's evidence on Putin. Okay, that is why Putin grabbed that man so he can do a exchange. Now, if Trump really wants to get thrown out of office, try to negotiate that
Break it
exchange.
up.
And if I was that young lady, I'd be scared to go back to Russia because they're probably going to kill her if she goes back.
They could kill her here. Look at how many Russians they killed 2 years ago on American
But
soil.
I think it's going to be a lot. It's a lot of stuff getting ready to come
Exactly.
out, and Mueller has his hands on it. And you know, all we can do is
She's
get a
not
bag
going back.
popcorn and sit back and wait for it. 'Cause it's coming.
Look, you know what I keep telling my mother about all this stuff with Trump and the Russians and all this? I don't care where the hell I am. I'm going to be in my cowboy boots like the white folks. I'm going to put my cowboy hat on. I'm going to dance in my drawers. Okay? That's how happy I'm going to be.
Yeah, it
It's
is coming. Yeah, it's coming.
coming.
You know, that's why I don't let this government shutdown bother me because I know in the end of the day, in a couple of weeks, it's going to be all over with because the fat cats on Wall Street aren't going to let this government tank. Okay, it's too much money involved in it. And before they let this government tank, people die in their sleep. They have heart attacks. Okay, and I'm just saying. Okay, you know, I might sound like a conspiracy theorist, but things happen. Okay, there's too much money involved with these white boys let money go. Okay, yeah. Let's get real now. No, let's get real. Okay. And if he think people
So
love
what
him
you
like
think? You think he's going to trigger his sleeper spy Melania and have her take him out?
who know? No, him. You know,
She's
like
a
I
sleeper
said,
spy?
yeah.
Why else would she put up with his ass? I'm sorry.
Hey, things happen. Okay.
Money.
You know, it's too much money. This country is built on capitalism. Okay. There's some fat pockets around here. You know, there are other people talking. Believe me, there are some people talking and thinking what I'm saying. Okay.
I
Because
can't
you know
understand why
what?
people
It's
support
just
him. Still,
I'm just, you know, I truly do hope with what you're seeing, Reggie, is going to be true. That this can, you know, it's going to have to end quickly. Because every morning that I turn on my television and I look at the news and I hear that people are not able to pay their bills. They can't go to work. Their families, you know, might go hungry, might end up sleeping in cars or on the street, in shelters, healthcare. Old people are not able to buy their medications. And now we're talking about people who have put their money away for 401ks. You know, they might even lose their money. Hell, I've been in that boot. I've been there on the last shutdown. But I'm really hoping that with what you're saying comes to fruition. I really do, because I can't stand to see another morning a grown man in tears about him not being able to support his family. Because even though we know that, you know, they're going to be, even though we know that they're going to get retro pay, what about the here and the now? What about being hungry now? What about having shelter now? Hell, these are the winter months. This is not spring.
Yeah.
You know, shelters are already overrun and overcrowded. This
But
is
these are
a
the
crucial
disposable
time.
people, though. All the people you're talking about, Trump and his supporters and his backers that aren't impacted by this, don't care. And obviously, I don't even honestly know how long it's going to take for Wall Street to step up, because a lot of those investors and those wealthy people downtown have money invested in other countries, have money in the Cayman Islands. They have their plan B, their plan C, and their cushions. They're not necessarily going to be immediately
You're right.
negatively impacted by this for a
Look,
while.
remember, Apple lost $325 billion last week before
Out
that.
of how
Okay,
much? Out of how
Yeah.
much?
but still, remember,
Out of how much?
325 billion. They could have paid for the wall. Okay, but remember, there's a lot of companies out there that were losing $1 billion or a couple $1 billion, but put them under. Okay, all right. Now he can keep this little charade up for a while, but he's not going to. At the end of the day, he's not going to get what he wants. Okay, I mean, it's just not going to happen. Now he can take a $2 bill, or he can take nothing. Okay, that's what's going to come down to. Okay, now he's trying to soften things by saying, "No, I didn't say a concrete wall. Also, we'll do steel slants now." That's still not going to get him his money. You know,
Yeah.
sooner or later, like I
So
said,
we have.
it's in
Go
the
ahead, Reggie.
Senate-
I'm sorry.
It's in the Senate's hands, and like I said, McConnell doesn't stop being a little B for Trump. They're going to vote him out of office. They're going to do it themselves. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just simple as that.
Well, we have a comment. It's so long because it's my cousin who is very long-winded. I can't put the comment up, Brian, because it's so long. It'll cover the screen.
Well, read it to us.
But Brian is actually part of our armed forces, and he's made this comment. He said, illegal immigrants don't own shipping companies, support cartels throughout the world, the ability to destroy regimes who don't agree with the Western interests. The wall is about racism and irrational fear.
Exactly.
Last time he checked, most killings admitted Americans with the KKK. That's the spelling of it. Number 45 is following a fascist playbook of divide and conquer, nationalism, anti-truth, and false patriotism. You guys are making great points. Interesting indeed. Thank you, Brian.
I agree with him 100%.
I agree with him too. But this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is what disappoints me in the people of the United States. You remember a couple of weeks ago when they were protesting in France about government change that were coming about? Why aren't we in the streets like that? Why don't we go to the White House and tear down the wrought iron fence and tear the White House down? That's our problem. If we were out in the streets,
go.
America down, the federal people would be back to work. Now, you know I believe in gasoline cans and matches. Okay, you know that. Okay, so if we were out there really protesting in our cities and letting the voice be heard, whose voice is going to be heard louder? It's going to be our voice that's going to be heard. Okay, we got to stop sitting at home on our butts and waiting for the politicians to do stuff. We need to take the fight to the streets. Okay, look at what the women did. Look at what women did the year before last. Over a couple million women came to D.C. and look what happened during the election. Now, y'all women getting your big
But
heads.
they didn't burn any shit down, and look, they still got it
Think y'all
accomplished.
gonna hold stuff down for a minute. We're gonna let y'all hold it down for a minute.
Well,
But that's the kind of
first of all, you
come
gotta
out.
burn some show.
What? What, Tony?
That's what I'm saying.
What'd you say, Tony?
We gotta.
The Women's March didn't burn anything down, and look at what they accomplished.
But that's what I'm saying. You've got to come out en masse. You've got to come out en masse to get things done.
I agree with that. I
I
agree with
That's what
agree.
it
that.
is.
I
And not
totally
You
just
agree.
in
know,
I
DC, but
totally
at the
agree.
homes of our elected
everywhere.
officials, at the offices of our elected officials, not
Mhm.
10 or 15 people, but in mass, like you say. I agree with that 100%.
You know, we just don't let our voices be heard. We are moaning, groaning at home because the bills are coming in, but we don't take it to the street. And we got to start taking stuff to the street. That's why I admire the other countries where people quit the, leave their jobs for a week at a time just to protest and try to shut the country down. I think the TSA people should go walk off the job
And
in
that's
protest.
another thing. I'm glad you said that because with the government shutdown, guess what? That also further reduces security at the border. So,
Yeah,
like
That's what I've been saying.
but
argument, this
He
argument
ain't
that
he ain't thinking about that. He
well,
doesn't.
I know, but neither are
Yeah.
any of his supporters, which just boggles the mind. They support this shutdown because they want the wall, yada yada, but
Mm-hmm.
they don't understand that this shutdown puts the country at risk on a national level.
But think
Whether it's
National
about
at the
level.
border
On a
or
national level.
at the
it.
ports where these shipping containers are coming in, all over this country. So if anybody's going to
Yeah.
slip in now, who's a terrorist or somebody who's got some
Mm-hmm.
evil intent, they're going to do it now.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
the perfect time to do it.
What about
Right.
the tunnels? What
Right.
about the tunnels that come under San Diego? What about the tunnels?
Hmm. And
Okay.
that's
I
only
mean,
the one tunnel they found. There's probably more than one.
thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
it's more than one.
Yeah.
It's more than one.
Hmm.
Doesn't that one have solar plant paneling with lighting
Yeah,
down there
they
too?
was hooked up.
Yeah.
Sure, I'd like to work down in that
Exactly.
tunnel. Sure,
Exactly.
you know.
And these people are
I don't
saying that the
know.
wall is going to stop drugs from coming in.
Yeah.
Wake TF up, please.
But
She what
only 37
about
percent.
that? Well, yeah, but see, look at this. The point is that you know what pissed me off? Listening to the what's that cow's name? Huckabee.
The father of the daughter.
Listening to her ass. Now she was to the there on Fox News. She said that we're slipping into the company to the country through the borders, through the southern borders. And I can't remember the newscaster, but
He
he
checked
fact
her.
checked her right then
He
and there.
checked her
He checked her.
immediately. Yeah.
He said, no, that's not true. It's a combination of air travel. It's a combination of boat. Hell, they can come in on donkey. Okay. But only 6 people slipped through the border or came to the border to come into this country over the course of a year. And where
As
they're
a,
getting their fucking numbers is just, it's
Mhm.
asinine.
as
It
opposed
doesn't
to
make
all of the
sense.
white nationalists in this country who have caused more bombs, more fires, and more deaths. They're not talking about those
That
numbers.
part.
Yeah. But they're
That
not gonna
part.
talk about any numbers. You know, he made a campaign promise and he's gonna die trying to make sure it happens. Okay, and he's gonna die
Well,
trying
like
to
you said, no, I can't say that. I'm on air.
Wait, there's something you can't
Because you
say?
know how I feel about him.
Mm.
Not
make
that.
sure. We've got to wake up.
Because the same way they would be knocking at Reggie's door, they'd be knocking at
Mhm.
mine. So I had
Look,
to
I
stop
just want
myself.
him impoverished. I want him to lose all his assets. I want him to know what it's like to suffer as one of the lowest people in society, trying
Yeah.
to earn your nickel every day to pay for your roof over your head and your food. I want him to suffer the indignity of that lifestyle for
Yeah.
a prolonged period of time. I don't want him
If
to
that
die.
sister,
That's what I
if that
want.
if that sister who's Attorney General in the state of New York has her way, he will suffer.
Hmm.
Oh, he's going to suffer. He's
Yeah.
going to suffer. I'm just waiting for Mueller's end game. I'm waiting. Like I said, I was with the cowboy hat on. Y'all going to see it on.
You're gonna be on Facebook
I
Live, huh?
want his, I sure am.
We're gonna have
I want his
party
attitude to be
poppers and hats
taken
on.
down. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's coming.
Because he needs to be taken down a few notches,
Yeah.
but to the point of, because whatever
Uh-huh.
world he's living in is definitely not the right world. It's not the right world. And whoever told him that he can continue to get away with things of this nature, they've told him wrong, and he needs his ass kicked for it. So I'm waiting for the state of New York to get in that ass. That's what I'm waiting on.
Thanks
Whenever you
for
have
the imagery, Tony.
whenever you have a person who fires people that are knowledgeable because you feel like you have more knowledge than them, that person has issues. And he has some real deep-seated issues because he's not he's not facing reality. He lives in a world that doesn't see reality for what it is. Okay,
You couldn't spell reality. Come on.
if you know
Exactly.
this is a guy who sits in the White House, not in the office, but in the residence, looking at TV all day long. And if he decides he want to act like the president for a day, he'll a couple of words.
Then he tweets.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, a Democrat will win next year, and because of looking at on the news, and they were talking to some of the Trump people who came out to hear Elizabeth Warren, and they were a mixture of Democrats and Republicans who had decided to vote for Trump. They said they're not voting for him next time. They said they were very disappointed in how things are going, how the country is going, but they want to see what the alternatives are for the White House, and they're going to test the waters with the Democrats and see which one's the best, and that's who they're going to vote for. He's rubbed a lot of people wrong. I mean, I think a lot of people thought he would come in and make this country, quote unquote, great again. This country is going to the dogs.
That's a turn of phrase that is ruined forever.
Yeah,
I don't even want to hear it.
Other countries are waiting for our fall. We're just like the Roman Empire. And when you look at it, we're just like the Roman Empire, and we got somebody who's quickly burning us down to the ground. And it's going to take a long time, even after Democrats come back. Like I tell people, it'll take at least 10, 15 years for this country to get back on the right track because of the problems with programs being reduced, programs being eliminated, EPA being all jacked up. It's going to take a long time to put this country back on track and gain the respect of the world leaders, okay? Because he's done messed us up.
I just hope that we can get him out of office before some major catastrophe happens. Whether it's another Hurricane Maria, Katrina, a plague, some national disaster that makes him have to stay in office longer. I think about every dystopian, futuristic book I've read about corrupt governments like this. And he seems to be, I mean, we all know that he's following the fascist handbook, but that's what concerns me when I talk about this end game with everything that he's doing. If this were one of the books that I'm reading, this would end up with the demise of America as we know it, and us rebuilding ourselves as a new society under a fascist regime. You mix up Handmaid's Tale with Fahrenheit 451 and all, Daniel Quinn's After Decao and a bunch of things, and this place will become ugly real fast. And it wouldn't take much. I mean, you look how quickly people break off into their splinter groups. It's just, we've got to get him out. We've got to get him now.
We already got that, okay? We already had the splinter groups in this country.
Yeah, I know, but if all of this shit went down, those splinter groups who are very well armed, it would become even more dangerous in this country.
Yeah, but like I said before on some previous shows, they ain't coming up in Northeast DC or South DC for that mess. They'll stay out in North Dakota and South Dakota and try to secede from the government, but this is not as wide range as we want to say it is. But this is the thing. Mueller's end game is going to change the game. Okay. And 45 knows. He knows it. He knows it's just a matter of time. And it's just distraction.
It's taking too much time. Get it together, Mueller. Seriously, it's taking way too much time. Yeah. He wasn't supposed to be in office this long.
But look, before we shut down, I want to give a shout out to my girl out in Tennessee. The government saw the opportunity to give her clemency.
Yes.
What's her name again? I can't.
Yes.
Brown. Brown's last name.
Oh my God, I forgot her name.
That's bad.
Well, we know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Because I was part of the protest with Sarah.
Yeah.
When she was on lockdown, and when they set her free. So yeah, I know who you're talking about. I have it on my page.
Yeah,
I forgot her
so
name. My
yeah,
apologies.
Santonia Brown. You know,
Yes.
and it's about time. You know, she went through a whole lot, and for them to come a couple months ago to say she was going to have to serve 51 years, and for the government to come, you know, that was just an act of God. Okay, you know, and for her, you know, I don't know why they keep her into August. I wish they would just let her out now because I don't want nobody getting jealous in prison to take her out. You know, but it's a good thing she's going to be able to come out. She's got a college education. And I'm pretty sure some of those lawyers that work with the Innocent Project, she should, you know, she'll get a job. And I hope she does well,
Yeah.
you know,
They-
because she went
Right.
through a lot. She learned a lot. She's grown a lot, you know. And hey, the governor might be a dirty Republican, but you got to take your hat off to him, you know, because he didn't have to do this. You know, he saw that this had to be rectified and he decided to rectify it, you know. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. Well, that is a good. Oh, wow. Great show, you guys. I really enjoyed this. Well, you know how I like to cuss and get in that ass a little bit on Trump. I like to talk bad. So thanks for letting me sit in with you. I appreciate it. And welcome back to 2019 Real World News TV. We have enjoyed you. My cousin, he has been sitting there and writing long posts. And wait, when I told him the long post, so he writes one word at a time.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I see one is post 1984. I don't know what happened then.
Yeah.
They
No, it's a
preached that.
book. It's a book, a
Oh, that's
dystopian
right.
book. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Preach that.
I like your cousin.
Well, I do want to thank my cousin Brian for listening in and watching tonight. You know, Brian does serve in our armed forces and he is a career man. So he is country justice with putting his life on the line, going into some of these areas that are completely dangerous. So I appreciate him and want to say that because he's done such a great job at doing what he does. But you guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We're 2 minutes behind. I want you to come on, join us tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio with me, Yvonne Baker, and Mr. Chris Smith from Man to Man TV. He's going to be sitting in with us for a couple of months, holding it down for Mr. Roland D until April. So come on back tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Like us, Yvonne Baker and Chris Smith. The show starts at 8 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Central, and 11 o'clock on the East Coast. Guess what we're talking about tomorrow night?
Your boyfriend.
R. Kelly. Now, ain't none of my boyfriend, that rat ass. He is none of my boyfriend. I
People
wouldn't
that
touch
wrong
him if
should
he was
not
the
be
last man on earth.
people that wrong should not be that talented. It's just
Exactly. So that's what we're about tomorrow night is the docuseries that had been recently aired on Lifetime television. And it was R. Kelly that you see serious stuff has come out. So his ass is not locked up. And that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night on Hot Topics Talk Radio. Thanks again for tuning in to Real World News TV with Chair Ann Tappan and Mr. Reggie Kearney with the sexy beard now. Hi. Wakanda. Black power. So thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you follow them on Facebook under Real World News TV. Also check us out on our website for past shows and catching up and finding out some of the resources. Go on over to hottopictalkradio.com. You'll also find our broadcast on YouTube under Hot Topics Talk Radio Network. You'll see all the shows past that have been aired. So I want you to check it out. Okay. Catch up, do all that good stuff. Send some messages, some show ideas, anything you want to talk to Mr. Reggie Kearney and Jerry Ann Tappan right here on Real World News TV. That is it for us. We are out of here. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Good show. Real World News TV, you are clear. Happy New Year, everybody.